This is Sexy Funny Raw, where we chat all about the world of sex, from dating and relationships all the way to the adult industry itself. I'm Silvia Saige, and this is my Pornspective, answering all the questions you weren't even brave enough to ask Google. Get ready, because Sexy Funny Raw starts now.
Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Sexy Funny Raw. I am your host, Silvia Saige, joined, of course, by the lovely Dr. Eddie, giving us a public health perspective on everything sexual that we need to know. And then, of course, to my right, I have Ray Reynaga here, a comedian, actor, writer, and very good friend of mine. So welcome, Ray, back to the show. Thank you so much.
Glad to be here.
So this episode is a fun one for me, and that is how much sex is too much sex. So let's get into it. Because I feel like a lot of people get very concerned with what is a normal amount of sex, right? And that can vary from, how new your relationship is, how much time your schedule allows. I know for my girlfriend, she worries a lot because she, for one, is pregnant, so that it makes it a little bit more difficult. And she has a toddler who sleeps in the bed with her. And so their sex is very few and far between, and it's hard for them to get a break. And actually, the last time they had sex is how they made the new baby. So, yeah, I think it depends on a lot of things. And I think one thing we definitely want to hit home in this episode is there probably is not any too much sex, right? Unless it's interrupting your day and things going on in your life, right?
I agree. I think definitely there's not a clear set number. There's some like national averages based on polling and those kinds of things. And researchers have done lots of surveys asking people how much, how often, when, where. Yeah. For your friend that's pregnant, it's totally natural to still want to have sex, and it's totally fine to have sex.
Her hormones are raging.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so all of those things are part of it, right? Yeah. And so finding time, as you mentioned, can definitely be difficult. And with children, it's even more difficult.
A lot plays into the mix.
And so there's lots of relationships that schedule their time as a result. And so
Ray, you've had scheduled times?
I did date someone where it was like a scheduled time.
Yeah.
I'm a big morning sex person.
So she would say, we're going to have sex tonight, or we're going to have sex on your birthday.
Like on Thursday. And it's like Monday.
Man.
And you're like, fuck, all right. And then we're like, I love it in the morning right then. That's like a good start to your day.
Yes.
Go take a shower afterwards.
Yes.
Good to go.
Yeah. And she was never a morning person.
No, it's like opposite. Yeah. And then I get home and you're shooting all day.
You're exhausted.
You're tired.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, all right, let's go. I'm down. Let's go.
Yeah.
But I'm a morning person. That person was a night person. So.
And that can definitely matter also. I've had that in relationships where, I also like morning sex, but I wanted evening sex. I wanted sex all day, and he couldn't give me evening sex because that wasn't like his forte. Because again, he was tired at the end of the day, and I was like, oh. But it also matters, like if it's you're new into the relationship, and so you're in that what do we call the honeymoon stage?
Definitely.
Yeah, where you just can't get enough of the other person, and at every opportunity you're just stopping to put it in for a bit. But then I think people do get worried when it digresses.
When it changes, sure.
Yeah, when that honeymoon phase kind of goes away and you're like, is there something wrong in our actual relationship?
It's the what did I do and all that stuff. Yeah.
But it just happens naturally in a relationship.
I had a girlfriend that got mad at me because we were shopping at Club Monaco, and I wasn't going to see her for 3 days because I was going to a bachelor party, and she wanted to have sex in the Club Monaco. And my thing is, we did. It was fine.
Oh, lovely. Nice.
My thing is if it's going to be somewhere where I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah, it's risky.
I'm and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But it's
mentally you're a little fucked, right?
Yeah.
A little harder to get hard.
I had to finish at home. It was one of those things.
You couldn't get off. Yeah.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
At any moment, and then they're
you're
checking
terrified.
On you. They know what's going on in that thing. They're just not helping me find the right point. You know what I mean? But it just And it's because like I was gonna be gone for a few days. Plus, like in the woman's mind, he's gonna see titties. It's gonna be like this. Like what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
But
I want to send him off with my pussy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get
Don't
that.
forget what you have to come home to.
Yeah.
Get to come home to.
Yeah. But I don't think that's a bad thing. And you did say one of these statistics that we had covered in here, of like how much is like an average number of average amount of sex. So what was it saying? Like, I lost it here. In their 20s, you're having sex about 80 times per year, right? Which seems incredibly low for a person of my stature. And then once you get into your 60s, 70s, 80s, it's going down to more like 20 times a year, which I think that is honestly, for a lot of couples, I feel like 20 times a year is pretty average.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's different statistics based on different survey models. And so a lot of statistics depending on your age group and your income level and all of those other things. Right. So income level matters because if you're working 3 jobs, if you're working 2 jobs, all of those things kind of matter. And so how much time you have, how much foreplay you get. If you have a date night, that's not a luxury that everybody has, right? So all of those things, if we're speaking within like the privileged few, sure, then maybe twice a week is pretty average for that specific demographic, but that's not like a reality on the ground per se. Depending on where you grew up, I grew up in lots of places, but they weren't always rich, fancy places. And so, when your parents are working 3 or 4 jobs just to make it, I'm pretty sure they weren't having date night, right? And so
because you're exhausted,
I would imagine.
But let's not forget how healthy sex can truly be for you.
Definitely.
I mean, we talk about like the men's prostate to be cleared out, and keeping it healthier. But if you're not coming on a regular basis, it can lead to prostate issues, right? Yeah,
and so prostate cancer often happens later in life for people with prostates. And so when you're dealing with inflamed prostates or swollen prostates, sometimes milking the prostate is a remedy. That could be very helpful to the prostate gland because that's where all that's being held. And so that's a medical procedure. And so it's very different than if your partner's doing it. Right. And so I would say have your partner do it more often, but that's definitely not the
just get their consent.
It's not the norm. And so,
but it can help with heart disease and
immune function. So there's a lot of positive benefits to a sexual healthy sex life.
To get COVID beat off. That's that's like I beat off a lot when I've had COVID 3 times and like.
That's how you got rid of it?
It helped. I'll tell you that much. I didn't think about it that much. Trump should have been saying that, right?
No, I actually had a boyfriend back in the day, and when he would get sick, he'd be like, "Oh, will you just come over and suck my dick?" And he was like, "I will feel better if you just suck my dick and just get this out of me."
I could have used that.
Right.
No shit.
You still can, Ray.
Game changer.
Yeah, you can still use it.
Game changer.
But that's what you got to say to people. But that's how you got to play it. You got to be like, don't you want to be healthy? Don't you want to be healthy together?
Yeah.
We need to keep up on our active
She could be my CVS. That's fucking genius.
Come and suck this sickness away.
Oh, that's genius.
There's a lot there. Wow.
Do you think you're getting rid of any sickness in your cum?
No, but you're certainly, men have often used masturbation and ejaculation as a way to relax, as a way.
Oh, right.
So there's all these
women do that too.
Absolutely.
It's a great pregame too. Like if you're going on a date, I'm back in the dating game, and like that's like
you'll masturbate first.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like going out there with a loaded gun.
That was like very popular in Something About Mary.
Yeah,
it's a movie.
Oh
yeah,
really when he had the cum in his hair or something like
and
that.
And so she like did it and put it as like a gel.
it was in her hair. That's
no,
what
it was in his hanging off his ear, but he couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Is that a hair gel?
It's all coming back to
right.
You now.
Well, it's pretty old.
It's like a 25-year-old movie, if not longer. Yeah.
Back when Cameron Diaz was an actress.
Yes.
Now
she's coming back.
Oh,
she's coming back,
fair.
they said.
Now she runs a vineyard, I think.
Oh, is that what she does?
Yeah, I think she has a vineyard.
Good for her. She's doing great. Doesn't she have a lube? Cameron? No, I'm thinking of somebody else. I thought she had a lube company for some reason, but I think that's some other blonde
Ryan
actress.
Reynolds to come up with like a lube company because he's doing everything.
He just bought a soccer team.
Yeah,
it's so crazy and awesome. Like that
show's amazing. That show's amazing.
I haven't seen the show, but I'm just in love with his wife.
Welcome to Wrexham.
Yeah. I'm just in love with Blake Lively, so I
think she's pregnant again with a fourth.
Good for them. I would love to watch them make babies. I would just, I would be so down for that if they would consent. I would be right there.
I like him as Deadpool. Let's leave him there.
He's great as Deadpool, and he's so sexy. I think sarcasm is so sexy. Something about being funny in general is hot.
Being funny is pretty great.
Yeah,
it works. I'm
it
sure.
Does. It does.
I had to figure something out.
and still pulling.
Yeah.
You're still doing pretty good. Let's everyone remember Ray is single, so if you see him out, just let him know. Give him your consent and have those conversations.
If you see him sneezing,
he's gonna need some head. Dr. Eddie hates us right now.
I mean, whatever works. I want everybody to have more sex, right?
Yeah.
Nice, safe, healthy sex. More of it is the way to go.
Yeah.
And so whatever works. But hopefully she knows what she's getting into.
Yeah.
I think.
And let's remember that sexual appetites will come and go, and that it isn't necessarily, you're not always going to just be craving sex. But, sometimes I definitely get in moments where I'm like, I really, really want it, or I want to masturbate a couple times a day. And then sometimes I'll go weeks and I'm like, when was the last time I even had sex? You forget about it at some points because you're just busy and doing other things.
Definitely. Sometimes you start having sex and then you want more because you've recently had some.
Yes.
And so it's like, I haven't had
Pringles.
sex for a long time. Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't had sex for a long time. All of a sudden I had sex and now I want to have sex again.
Yeah.
And again.
It's almost like you forget how amazing it feels. And then you're like, oh, right. This
really
was
good for
really
us.
fun.
It's really good for us. As long as we're safe about it and all of those good things.
It has a different level of marginal utility. I would have been much better at economics if they just told me related it to sex. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
For sure.
Maybe that's what they do in their head.
Yeah. Yeah. So there definitely are some risk to having what we would consider maybe too much sex. And I know for me personally, my vagina and my labia get very swollen, and so it becomes sore, and just the inflamedness in general, having any extra pressure in there is very painful. And you were talking before the show how it affects the penis as well.
Definitely. How much sex is too much sex? It's too much sex if it's impacting your life negatively.
Right.
And if you're in pain, right? And so that's kind of where we are right now.
Right.
And so for the penis, it depends on circumcision or not circumcised. And so if you are circumcised, the foreskin could be very sensitive. It could get swollen.
Which I didn't know. I didn't know the foreskin got swollen. I had no idea.
Absolutely. It can get swollen. The skin could dry and crack, and it can be very painful. On the opposite side of the spectrum, if you're circumcised, you often get it around the bottom of the head.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of things from constant friction. So you can reduce that, and you could go more if we use more lube, but that's often not what we're doing. So if we're more conscious about engaging in sex, if we're more thoughtful about all of the things that we need, then we can maybe go a little bit more than we do without it.
Yeah.
But at some point, our bodies are telling us, okay, that's enough. Our minds might be saying we want some more. But our bodies are saying,
we need a break.
Your dick's going to say enough is enough.
Yeah.
Your vagina's going to say
enough is enough.
And tomorrow maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Have you ever gone too hard in the paint? Right?
I have, actually. I have. Fucking teed that up. I dated this 22-year-old, and I'm in my 30s. And she was just like, let's go all the time. And I was like, fuck, man.
You don't have it in me.
Oh, man, I forgot what this was like. Because, I was an athlete in college. I don't look it. But I was always, down. And then as I got older, life got in the way.
Well, and two, I think the older you get, especially for men, now correct me if I'm wrong, I'm clearly not speaking from experience, but I think sometimes too, you're the ability to keep getting hard throughout the day, or to even keep coming throughout the day.
I have a weird story because I don't know if I've ever told you this. I think I did, that I used to be immobilized from the neck down.
No, I don't think I did.
And then I had spent a whole year relearning how to walk.
What?
And
a car accident or something?
No, I had a random autoimmune disease, and I woke up and I couldn't move below my legs.
Wow.
I just broke up with my girlfriend. I called her. She hopped through a window, called the paramedics. Sometime in Cedars, I lost mobility below the neck.
Oh my God.
And then I spent like 9 months relearning how to walk and whatever. By that point, I had lost that girlfriend. She left. It happens. But I ended up like starting to date a friend that would come over, and we ended up hooking up. And then,
but your dick worked?
My sex drive went crazy through the roof because I didn't have sex for like 9 months.
Oh, this is after you've regained.
Yeah, when I regained all that stuff.
Yeah.
She went down on me a couple times, and it was like kind of tough. But then like after I started like really functioning in mobility, it was like I felt like I was, and I was like 32, and 31, and just like I could fuck like I was like 19 again.
Wow.
I think it could have been just
only 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was it. Hey, I finished. Tortoise in the hair. That's how it. but yeah, like
to be 19.
I don't know
again.
if it was if it was a mental thing or whatnot, but like,
yeah. You think because it was so built up?
Just backed in there.
Yeah.
You had to make up for lost time.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. Yeah,
makes sense.
Well, now you just gotta be paralyzed again, and then you can get back.
I'm good to go now.
Or let's not.
Yeah.
Just have lots of sex. How's that?
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
But use lube. And
Yes.
Because, I mean, obviously vaginal dryness is a very real thing as well. And if you are having an excessive amount of sex, you're not using lubrication, there can be rips and tears, which of course lead to more intense problems. So,
I mean, I would say that the adult film industry has certainly created this environment where like, spit on the hand, slam it in with no foreplay is like the norm with the pizza dude or whatever the case may be. But it's not that way in real life, and we really have to be cautious.
And you know what?
Those things.
It's not that way in porn either. The crappy thing is in porn is they'll make us put lube, but they'll make us put it like down out of the camera. So, and they'll cut. If you want to use lube, you can put it on, but they'll like cut to your face or someone else's face, so they don't actually see you putting the lube on, which is crazy because we should be like celebrating the fact that we're lubing up right now, not keeping it a secret. Like our bodies are just naturally producing all of this lubrication. Like, no, quit making me hide the lube insertion. It's crazy. But yeah, that's what actually is happening on a porn set is they're just panning away while we put the lube on. So it's very much there. They're just not telling you it's there. So much movie magic. I know. Yes, that's exactly what it is. We'll edit that out. You could put that on. We'll edit that out. Yeah, it's crazy.
When we're younger, we often don't. Maybe some people don't prepare as much when they're younger. Right? So it's fumbling, it's stumbling. Everybody was out drinking. You're back in the dorm room or back in the apartment. Maybe there's lube, maybe there's not lube.
Right.
You know, saliva works. Certainly it does, but it doesn't work well. Mm-hmm. And it certainly reduces the pleasure for both parties.
Yeah.
And so, but there's a sexiness to it. But you can spit on a lubed hand.
Right.
Right? So, you can still have those things while also being safer for your body and enjoying it, because if there's better slide, it's gonna feel better.
Yeah. What is it about spit that is so weirdly sexual? Like it really is.
I don't know. I had a girlfriend once asking me to
spit in her mouth. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that a thing?
I don't know either. I don't like people to do it to me, but I've certainly
I was so
had
uncomfortable saying that too. I didn't want to say. I let you do it. I let you say it.
Spit in her mouth. Yeah, it's a thing, and people like I always tell people like if you even try to spit in my face, like I will murder. But spit on my vagina, it's fine. But you're right, it's not enough. Spit is not enough.
No, and it doesn't keep
the lubrication going.
It doesn't keep the lubrication going. And so for men, if you're uncircumcised, you have a little bit of natural lubricant, but it's absolutely not enough
Not
either.
enough.
No, and that's extra sensitive.
Yeah.
And so you can create tears, you can create a bunch of problems if you're not really, really careful.
Is that little bit of lube on the tip of a man's penis, does that pre-ejaculate basically? Does that have sperm in it?
Yeah.
Does that little...
Yeah, you can get pregnant from that. For sure.
Yeah, we had once discussed the pull-out method and how it's really not effective only because...
But those swimmers are, they're already out there.
Right.
I worry about that because, like, I'm Latino and we breed. My dad's got 4 kids to tell you it works. And like, we're stacked. Like, it's like my sister is 11 months older than me. My youngest is 13 months younger than me. And then, like, my youngest sister's 8 years younger than me. So, like...
But don't you say you had a brother that's, like, 20 years?
20 years younger than me.
That's crazy.
And
good for them. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful.
That's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah. I was like at college, and they were like, "Oh, she's pregnant," and I immediately I was like, "Oh, Victoria."
Who's it? Your sister?
One of my sisters.
Oh, okay, yeah. And they're like, "No, Mom."
What? You guys aren't supposed to be doing that.
Actually, they should absolutely. We're so uncomfortable when we're thinking about stuff like that.
I know.
It's super problematic because we expect our grandmother and our grandfather and our parents to like stop being humans somehow.
Yeah.
And so it really damages all of that stuff. We don't want to hear the specifics, but don't we want everyone to have a healthy sex life at whatever age?
Right.
I knew they were getting it on because I shared a wall with them. Like,
Oh,
my
no,
sister's room
that's
was
the
on the other side of the
worst. It's
house,
like a
and my
trauma.
room was like on that side. Yeah, if you saw me on the couch, I heard something that night.
Oh
So,
no! Oh, that is.
I'm going to have a
torturous.
sister
Yeah,
or a brother.
and here we go.
Oh man, I'm so sorry that you had to do that. I was so thankful that growing up, my dad's bedroom was on the 3rd floor and I was in the basement, so I never heard any of that kind of stuff. I thank God was never a subject to it. But so what does happen when you and your partner want different amounts of sex? When one of your libidos is higher than the other, which I think is a pretty common, like, I don't want to say problem, but issue, where one's libido is a little bit higher, and it may not necessarily always be who you think it is. I think women my age also have very high libidos, so we're right there with it. But can you, in that case, because some people are going to put that into like a negative headspace when somebody just wants too much, and then we go into the falls of sex addiction. How much is too much, right?
I mean, for relationships where it's a different amount per person, there's lots of things that you can do, though, right? And so it's more on the line about intimacy and being able to share intimate moments and masturbating together and doing those kinds of things, which aren't really that common.
I love masturbating together, though. Huge fan.
And so, but that's not the norm, I would say, right? And so that becomes a problem if you're not getting off together.
Right.
And so to fix it, you could integrate some of that stuff. If one partner wants it more than the other, it's a give and take either way. So integrating toys, integrating masturbation, integrating all those things can be super duper helpful in that regard.
Yeah.
But then when you're getting into the point where it's affecting your life negatively, is where we're getting into conversations about sexual addiction and stuff like that.
So it would necessarily, in order to classify it in that sex addict type of thing, we mean that it's affecting your day-to-day life. Maybe you're not performing the duties that you would normally do, or it's keeping you from going to work, or keeping you from doing any type of regular activity, right?
Yeah, it also has like a lack of control about sexual impulses and stuff like that, and it's certainly a real problem for some.
You had mentioned a movie, Shame? Is that
Shame with Michael Fassbender,
right? Yeah. And that was something that he was dealing with, being a sex addict.
Absolutely, and I thought it was such a great film, and sad and powerful, and it's just a great film because it really sheds light on people.
How it can really engulf your life.
On a world how it can really engulf your life for sure. And so, I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's definitely an intense movie, so it's worth watching. But there's also the challenges for those people that are dealing with those things. There's very few places for you to go. We have some resources that we're putting up, where you can go and get some information, and there's groups and stuff like that. But it certainly impacts your day-to-day life in a really, really negative way, and that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah, but I think we had discussed prior. I think that's an addict in any sense of the word, where it's changing your life, whether it be alcohol or a methamphetamine or sex. If it's affecting your life to the point where it's stopping you from doing the normal things in life, that's where you maybe need to consult outside sources. And
I mean, if you're at work and you're like not getting your job done because you're like in the bathroom beating up,
right?
Or if you're drinking on the job and it's like affecting all your stuff, it becomes a problem.
Crazy, because I've done both of those things. I've definitely drank on the job, and I've definitely left and gone to the bathroom to masturbate. All things I've done. But not on like a consistent
I'm mic'd up
basis.
most of the time, so that's kind of tough for me to.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God, there was like an Entourage episode about that where Johnny Drama beats off right? Remember that one?
No.
Yeah, and he's mic'd up.
Oh,
and like
hilarious.
I've always thought about that now because like I have it on.
Right.
And you forget it's there. You completely forget it's there.
I wonder if they can hear you like fart or burp
For sure.
or anything.
For sure.
Yeah?
I was doing a movie and I had to go to the bathroom and I had to like do number 2.
Oh, no.
And I could hear them asking where I was. And I remember the girl was so cute that I had the scene with, and like she knew I was in the bathroom too, and I was so embarrassed. I told this story to my manager, and he just couldn't stop laughing. We were playing golf, and and I'm not gonna say her name, but I was like, I'm never gonna live that.
Wait,
down
so they
ever.
heard you?
They heard me go to the bathroom doing number 2.
Oh no!
I was mic'd up still.
Oh
Like,
no!
So
no.
it was just because they were like I think the boom guy or the mic guy was like, I know what Ray is. I'll be right back. Like it was like
Give him a few minutes.
Yeah, give him like a minute. He's battling it out.
Oh
right now.
no!
It was so bad. Like I don't think like I think he might have been the only person to hear me.
Right.
But he was the one to tell people like.
Yeah.
And then we had to go do the scene, and I'm like, oh shit.
No, literally.
Yeah, literally.
Oh shit.
I think something like that happened with Mario Lopez a few years ago too, where he was mic'd backstage.
Oh really?
But he was like making out or doing something with somebody.
Nice. Good
Something
for him.
like that.
I like
don't
that.
remember exactly. I'd have to look that up.
It's honestly one of the, and I just like, I was new to acting at that time, like on camera, not like in theater.
Right.
Very different art. But I was so embarrassed.
I love
like,
that.
I turned red and I'm brown, so it was a big thing.
Speaking of shame, so you did mention in here like what is what is a sign of a sex addict, and you even mentioned like feeling that shame around it. But don't men in general feel like a shame around, like I've always heard men say when I'm done masturbating, I just feel bad. Like I feel ashamed of myself. Is that not a thing that men
I don't think so.
I've never had that problem.
No?
I can see where you get that because I went to like private Catholic school my whole
Right.
life.
Sure.
And I could see it like, oh, God's watching. No one's watching.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like no omnipotent thing is up there. Like I'm like, I'm mad at you.
Even if he was or
Yeah.
she was, even
Right.
if they were, it wouldn't be at that level.
I'm just gonna
Right.
like put it on my tab.
It's like probably say it's a pretty natural function.
Yeah.
I think it's important that everybody know that it's a natural function, but
Yeah.
it's also really tied up in a lot of religions. So a lot of religions kind of restrict control of access to reproduction, right? So sex should only be for reproduction. In a lot of cases,
Right.
masturbation leads to blindness.
Right.
Right. And so there's all these things that were historically and culturally embedded, sometimes via religion, but sometimes via culture,
Yeah.
that create these environments. So for some people, absolutely, I think shame is a part of it, but it depends on how they were raised. Were their parents not okay the first time that they got caught masturbating? Did they like yell at them and say that that's wrong?
Right,
Because that happens
right.
a lot of times to young boys when they're masturbating.
Yeah.
Not that I know, but I've heard.
You never got caught?
Oh, I got caught a bunch of times. But
Oh,
my,
yeah.
Yeah?
my brother,
Oh, yeah.
my brother's 4 kids, like my brother's kids, and then
Yeah.
my friends all have children now, and some of them are boys,
Yeah.
right? So adults now have these conversations,
Yeah.
where you're like, oh, well, they just found it,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and that's pretty natural and normal. And how do you deal with that? Like, you don't want to be touching it when anyone else is
Yeah.
here, but it's okay to touch it,
Right.
Right, and so that gets kind of messy, but I can imagine a world where the first response that you get
Is how you feel about it.
is how you sometimes feel about it. And so
Yeah.
maybe that takes a little bit of therapy. Maybe it talks, maybe you need to talk through some of those things, but we shouldn't have it because it's part of life and everybody's doing it.
Right.
Right. So if everybody's doing it,
Yeah.
I'd say the hell with them.
Yeah.
If you're smart now, like it was so hard to hide it back in the day because we had those big ass VHS tapes. Like, but I remember when my mom first saw it, and like I was like beating off to like Alyssa Milano in like a vampire movie. That's true. My
And she like walked in on you, right?
No, she was like thought I was doing drugs, and so she like searched my whole room, and then she found the like sock. And, and the VHS tape, and I was like, I can explain. Whereas like we caught my little brother who's younger because he just checked his search history. Where if he was smart, I should have told him. I should have told him how to clear. I should have been the cool big brother, but I wasn't because it was just hilarious catching him.
It's harder for them now. Kids now, everything is out there.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what they're looking at. You know exactly what they're doing. In
Yeah.
our day, it was a little easier, right?
Yeah,
It was
it was magazines and things of that nature.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my uncle caught me like starting to beat off to like a magazine. It was like Pam Anderson, like back in the day.
Yeah.
And my uncle was like, "Cool. Can I borrow that?" Like he was like joking. I had a really cool uncle, and he was like the one that like had the the like Playboys and the DVDs and all that stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love it. That's hilarious. I don't think I've ever been caught masturbating by like anyone. But then again, like I'm super like, if I hear a sound, I'm like, shut it down, so who knows? But anything else that you feel like is necessary that we need to add on to this conversation? Maybe the questions you need to ask yourself if you feel like you may be leaning towards sex addiction?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, definitely go for it.
Yeah, so I think some questions that if you feel that maybe you may have an excessive sex drive or that you are masturbating too much. So I think the things that you really want to ask yourself are just the basics. Like, can I control these sexual impulses? Am I distressed by my sexual behavior? Is my sexual behavior hurting my relationships with other people? Is it hurting my work life? Things of that nature. And am I trying to hide it? Am I hiding my sexual behavior from other people? And if that's the case, then maybe it is something that has become a problem in your life, and something that like Dr. Eddie mentioned, we will put some hotlines down, and there are some people that you can talk to about that, and just try to get to a better, healthier place in your life. So feel good about that?
Yeah.
All right. Ray, if you want to go ahead and tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Ray's Reality, RAYSREYALITY, or just Google me on Ray Reynaga.
Very Googleable.
Literally the first thing that pops up is this beautiful face.
I love it. I love it. All right. Thank you, Dr. Eddie, again for being here with us and giving us all your public health perspective. We appreciate it. Until next time, guys, if you like what you saw, just click the little subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.